Welcome everyone to Conversations with Colleen. And today our guest is JAYDA Ellis. JAYDA is a couture designer, and I'm very excited as she takes us on the journey of how she fell in love with fashion, how she learned to design, and where she's going. And so we will begin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on here and just share my story with your audience.
Great, thank you. So, I'd like to know a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
So I'm actually from Houston, Texas, and I lived there all of my life up until I want to say I was 18, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to go to Clark Atlanta, but unfortunately I wasn't able to continue going to school there because of my funds. So I ended up dropping out, but I still stay in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Was it a good move to move to Atlanta?
Yes, I definitely feel like this is where God wanted me to be. I feel like everything that's happened to me while being out of here, everything that's happened to me while being out here has played a part into who I've become. Like, I've had so much character growth, so much character development. I've learned so much. I've met so many people. I've made so many connections. And I feel like that was only going to happen if I came out here. Like, even the roommate that I had once I dropped out of college, his name is Jamil, literally one of my best friends. He's also a designer. Even him, like, we actually dropped out of school together, and we spent like almost every day in our apartment sewing, teaching each other, helping each other. And we were both able to grow so much because of that. And I feel like that wouldn't have happened if I was still back home, you know? Even I just feel like when you think about Texas, no one compares like, or even relates Texas to fashion, you know? And so I feel like even though people typically think of New York when it comes to fashion, I still feel like Atlanta was just like a step up for me. And so, yeah, I definitely think it was necessary for me to be out here.
Okay. All right, great. How long have you been in Atlanta?
Um, Probably 4 years. Four, maybe going on 5.
Okay.
That hasn't really been that long, but yeah, it's been about like 4 to 5 years. So, I love it out here. I think it's really like perfect for me. It's everything that I needed for this season of my life.
Understood. So when you were in Texas, you were already interested in design?
Yes. So I actually got into fashion when I was 7 years old. My aunt, she was, I don't know if you want to call her a designer or a seamstress, but I grew up like watching her make clothes for her church and for her daughter, like the little church plays and stuff. She would make the costumes, and just seeing her make clothes for her and her kids, it inspired me to do the same thing. So in second grade, my parents, they got me my first sketchbook, and literally that whole night I stayed up and I just started sketching outfits. And I still have the sketchbook to this day. I should have brought it out, so that way I could actually show y'all on camera. But I still have that sketchbook, and it's filled with these ugly little sketches. But I remember just walking around like, going to my classmates like, hey, I'm gonna make this outfit for you, I'm gonna make that outfit for you, like literally just thinking I was about to be creating all of these outfits for my whole class. But yeah, like, fashion has been a part of my life since I was a child, which I'm really blessed to even have like found my purpose at such a young age. Because for some people, we don't find like what we are supposed to be doing. We don't find our purpose or what we truly love until like way later down the line. But I found out in second grade, like, this is what I want to do. And so, yeah, from elementary to like middle school to high school to college, like, my skill just continued to develop. I started off making doll clothes. Like, I would take my sister's clothes and cut them up, or I would take socks and make wedding dresses for my dolls. Like, and since I didn't have a sewing machine, I would take shoestrings and use that as thread. So I would cut holes in the side of the outfits and like lace them up together.
Oh,
And then in middle school, I still didn't know how to sew, but I would do like reconstructed denim. So I would like go to the thrift store and I would bleach denim and I would dye it and I would add studs and jewels to it and rip it up and just do anything to make it look unique or creative. And then when I was 15, my sophomore year, that's when I finally learned how to sew. And I started off like really simple, just doing like little boxer shorts. I even tried to start like a boxer short business and sell little shorts to people, but it didn't work out. But by the time I was a senior, that's when I got into doing like dresses and things like that. So yeah, it's been a part of me like my whole entire life.
Did you take sewing classes in school, or was it something you took outside of school?
So I actually started taking classes outside of school. It was a Hobby Lobby that wasn't too far from my house. And the woman who actually taught me, she ended up being like my first mentor. So I probably was in her classes for maybe like a few months, or maybe even a year. It wasn't that long, but then after that, it's like she saw my potential and she was like, okay, Jada, if you agreed to come work for me, basically like as her intern, she was like, in exchange, whenever I want, I'll get free sewing classes. And so yeah, for years like I worked with her. Even now, like she's probably like 70 years old now, still sewing, but anytime I go home I try and help her because she's literally like a big reason why I even know how to sew. And I was just really dedicated to always working with her. I used to sell candy at my school, like in high school, just to afford sewing classes. Wow. And to afford like fabric in the class and everything. So yeah, that's really how I learned how to sew.
Wow, you were really ambitious the whole time.
Yeah.
So we're back with Jada, and Jada has her sketchbook that she used when she was 70 years old. I'm excited to see what you have there.
Yes, so this is my sketchbook. Let me flip through some of these pages. So this is the type of stuff like I created as a child. It was literally like just all different types of outfits. My sketches were not the best, as you can see.
For that age, that was great. Now, were you sketching styles that you saw already and you were just replicating them?
I think I was really just doing like random stuff, honestly. Well, of course I was inspired by like what I saw in kids fashion at that time. But like even a lot of these, like I put words on everything. Like this, I don't know if you can see, but it says Happy Thanksgiving with a turkey on it. And then like this here, like it says I love winter. And so
okay. Wow.
Like a phase of just putting like words on everything. But yeah, I think this one I actually thought was really cute when I was little. This little
oh, I like that. Is that a skirt?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. It looks like a sailor outfit.
Yeah. And so this is literally like something I've been doing my whole life. Oh, look. So if you can see here, it has like a name at the top. It says Precious. And so I had a classmate named Precious, and I told her, Precious, I'm going to make this outfit for you. And so I put her name next to it just so she can know it was for her.
Nice.
And so, yeah. And that's like another one.
Wow, I like that skirt. That's a long skirt, isn't it?
Yeah, so these were the designs from 7-year-old. These were my designs from 7-year-old Jada. This is the type of stuff that I used to create. Let me see if there anymore. Oh, this one I thought it was really fancy because it had a double collar. It had a double.
Okay. Wow.
Then, I don't know why, but at some point I really just stopped coloring everything. Okay. And so then I would like just label it all. So at the top it says like light green.
Okay.
And then it says green shirt. Then it says a green sequin belt, blue jeans, and then green at the bottom. So I would just label everything.
All right. So, yeah. You could still use those fashions today.
No, honestly, I could. It actually would be cool. My mom and I, we talked recently about doing a fashion show that kind of like showed my journey. And
Nice.
so even like basically just telling my story. So starting with like elementary school and actually like bringing some of these designs to life that I created like as a child, and even the whole idea of like how I didn't use thread to like sew up garments, but instead I laced them up for my dolls and stuff. So even like creating a few pieces like that, but for actual people, and have everything laced up instead of it being actual thread, and just literally like showing the whole process. Even how I was saying, like I went through the phase of like doing reconstructed denim, like have a section for that, and just show my whole process up until like where I am now. And so, yeah, I think that actually could be a cool idea. So we'll see if it happens one day.
It sounds good to me. Now, are there fabrics or textures that you prefer?
Yes, so I feel like as my skill grows, my preference for fabric changes. So once I dropped out of school, I started doing prom gowns because I needed a way to make money and also like stay in Atlanta. And I knew like I could make money off of prom dresses. And also I wanted to get more into designing dresses anyways. And so during that time, all I really used was like sequence fabrics, sequence lace, sequence, like different type of lace fabrics, sometimes a beaded lace. But now I feel like I still use like sequins a little bit, but anything that kind of feels like prom, I try and stay away from. So I like fabrics that maybe it can have like a little shine to it, but like solid colors, or even if it is like multicolored, I don't want it to look like childish, if that makes sense. So I say like some of the fabrics I like to use a lot now are like silk taffeta or just taffeta in general. I like using silk fabrics and satin fabrics, or even just fabrics that have texture to them. Or I like to do, with what I create, I like to do a lot of 3D design and just create shape in the things that I create. And so I also look for fabrics that have like some type of stiffness or some type of body. So that way I'm able to like actually form different shapes and manipulate the fabric and make it into different things. Because if I was to use like a thinner fabric, thinner fabrics would just like fall straight to the ground. You can't really manipulate them that well. And so, yeah, that's really what I like to use a lot of now.
Okay. Do you design mainly for women, or do you design for men as well?
Yes, I actually only design for women. I recently the rare occasions that I do design for men would have to be if it is someone that I know from like back home, like a friend or something. But other than that, I really try not to. Men's design, it makes me nervous. And so I just try and stay away from it. But I feel like I've gotten so comfortable with designing for women is because I was always my own model. Like I would test stuff out on myself. And so yeah, it just gave me a lot of practice basically. But I don't really work with men so much. And also even when I was in high school, and I that's actually the only time I consider myself a men's and women's designer, was in high school. I feel like my men's clients were always a little difficult. So they kind of just kept me from working with them. So yeah, I prefer to work with women as of now, but once my brand grows, or even once my brand grows to a larger scale, I would love to like hire a men's designer that kind of aligns with my brand, and he could take care of that part of the brand, and then I would take care of the women's.
Nice. So he would design the men's fashion.
Yeah. Typically like that's what a lot of designers do. Or even if you go to school for fashion design, a lot of designers look to get hired by another fashion brand that they feel like their values or ideas or creativity aligns with, and then they'll create for them. I don't know if you saw the new Cruella de Vil movie, but it's a great movie, especially like um just with the fashion in it. It's absolutely beautiful. I think you would love it. Like
Hey, I'll
the
have to check it out.
fashion in that movie is so inspiring and beautiful. It's like some of the most timeless pieces. But in that movie, like Cruella, she hired a bunch, or not Cruella, the Cruella was actually, this was like her backstory. So it showed her working under another designer, but there were basically lots of designers that worked for this lady. I can't remember her name, and they will all create designs, bring them to life, and then you would have to showcase them to the head designer, and then she would choose what aligns with her brand the most. And then that's what will be like produced or manufactured. But that's typically like how things go now. Like people will bring in other designers who like fit their brand, and then you just kind of put those ideas together and present it to them.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
So are there designers that have influenced you or that you appreciate?
Yeah. So my favorite designer, it's an Italian designer. She passed away, but there's a new person that runs her brand, and he still like basically fits her aesthetic. He fits like what she creates. So he's still carried on her vision. But her name, I know I always pronounce it wrong, but it's like Elsa Chiappelli. Like it's pronounced Italian, so you gotta like roll the L's and all of that. But Elsa Chiappelli, something along those lines. But her work is absolutely amazing. She's been designing for like years and years and years. I want to say possibly since like the 60s or 50s. It could be even sooner because I don't know the exact time, but her brand has been around for a while, and she plays a lot with shape and a lot with like color, and just even using like even now the person who's taking over the brand, he experiments with like a lot of different materials, which is something I do. Like one of my friends, Jamel, he always like talks about how I will try and find anything to use like for a dress. Like I just like trying out new things that aren't necessarily like conventional. Like just because one thing I always remind myself is fabric is limitless. Like you can literally do anything you want with fabric. So I don't have to feel like, and I tell myself that so I can remind myself, like, I can bring any idea to life. Like, I could make fabric do whatever I want to do. And I feel like that's how her brand is as well. Like, they create some of the most breathtaking, like, garments. And it's just like, wow, like, y'all did this out of fabric. Like, y'all really just created this crazy idea and brought it to life. And so, yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite brands.
Okay. All right. So what have you done so far? What kinds of things most recently? Because you've shown us what you did when you were 7. You've shared some of your ideas going forward. So where are you right now?
So I recently relaunched my brand earlier this year, back in May. And the collection is called Testimony Collection. And it's basically just telling my story of how I got saved and how God helped me through this journey of like salvation. And so I call it like a love letter to God, because that's really what it is, just showing like the goodness of God through it. And so I launched that in May, and it was really, really beautiful. One of my favorite things that I've ever done. And I actually show some pictures of that as well. I put together a slideshow to show like my progression through my skills and my ideas, and then also like pictures of my collection. But yeah, that. And then actually once that launched, I assumed like it would be like an overnight success, because I remember like I invested so much into this project. And I remember feeling like, well, I know God told me to do this, so that means it's going to succeed and it's just going to take off. And I just thought everything was going to happen like this, because it was just like during that time, I felt like, well, I'm being obedient to God. Like I'm taking so many leaps of faith. Like I've probably invested more than $10,000 in that project. And as like a 22-year-old, like that's a lot. Like, especially when it's not like, I don't, like I've worked for myself basically my whole life. The only time I had a job was in high school, and I worked for Topgolf for a couple of years. But yeah, that 2000, that was a lot for me to do. And so yeah, like I was just like, okay, I'm being obedient to God. Like I'm doing all of this that He's telling me to do. So that means it has to automatically take off. And especially like everybody around me that was like seeing the collection before it came out, they were like, oh yeah, like you about to get so many orders, this is about to happen, and all of this stuff is about to happen for you. So I feel like what started to happen was I got focused on like what people around me were telling me and not what God was telling me. Like God told me to do this collection and that He would take care of me and everything will be okay. But He just wanted me to listen to Him and do this collection. He told, like, literally I fasted, like, I want to say all of January or maybe 2-3 weeks in January. And I got like basically the rest of the ideas for this collection. Like it was like God just was downloading so much into me, and it was just so beautiful because I feel like God was just like, this is what I want you to bring to life. So I was like, okay. And so God never said everything is going to automatically take off. Right. But I was listening to the people around me who were saying that. So instead of just being, even as far as like money and stuff, everyone was like, oh, you're about to have so much money as soon as this comes out. Da, 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 da. But I wasn't even doing that collection for money. I was doing it because God told me to do it, not so I could get a lot of money. But then, like I said, listening to people telling me like, oh yeah, you're gonna get this much money and all of this stuff is about to happen, like I started getting hooked onto that. And so once the collection came out, it definitely got a lot of love. It got a lot of love, and even just the people who were a part of the collection, as far as like people I hired and things like that, I feel like it was like a testimony to them to really see like, wow, look what God like helped her do. Because even moments through it, I would like not have money, and then all of a sudden I would be blessed. Like God would send someone in my life to bless me, to make things happen for it. And so I want to say like 2 months after the collection, things were just so slow. Like things were so slow, and I was just so confused. And I started to get like sad, and actually like I think I experienced like my first depression. I've never really been depressed before, because I was just like, everybody told me like this was going to happen, and I was just thinking like, God, did I do something wrong? Like, did I not do something you told me to do? Like, did I mess up? Like, I was just so confused. But then like, I want to say maybe at some point in the summer, things started to change. And it's just like, now looking back at it, it's like all I had to do was trust God. I know that like earlier this year, like when I did my fast, God told me that what He wanted from me this year was to trust Him and have faith in Him, because that's something like I've always tried to like take control over everything in my life, and God has just been wanting me to give Him all of the control and just be able to rest in the fact that He is literally taking care of me. And so it was like now that I've been getting so many opportunities lately, and literally every opportunity I've been getting is because they found my collection. Like I've been working like with some incredible actors, like even there's like a show that's out now, it's called BMF, but one of the actors on there, she's like a singer as well. And she's going to have like a billboard up in Times Square, like, you know, the electronic billboards. And she's wearing my stuff on that. There's a actor named Wendy Raquel. She was on the show called The Game, which is like a really popular show. And she's about to wear my stuff on a magazine cover. Okay. And then even like there's another R&B artist. Her name is K. Michelle, but she's switching to country music. And for her country album, she's wearing my stuff for her album cover. And so it's just like so much stuff. Like even it's like, you know how they have the Real Housewives show. I just got to work with one of the women off of one of the Real Housewives show, and it brought like so much attention. Like her pictures of her and my dress came out, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and it literally like went viral. It was like trending on Twitter, and people were just saying how great she looked. And so, but again, like all of the people that have been coming to me and reaching out to me for these big projects, they, like I said, they've been coming from that collection. So it's like I really just had to be patient, you know, like just wait, and instead of focusing on like what life looks like right now, focus on like the promise that God gave me. And he told me he was going to take care of me. And I know like God told me to do that for a reason. So I just had to trust that, even if I didn't know the whole plan, you know, like, and I feel like that can be an issue sometimes. Like as people, we want to be in control, you know, we want to know all the answers. We want to know everything. Like, but my pastor says like, if you know all the answers, you know all the steps, that's not faith. Because you know everything, you know, like faith is not knowing the outcome. Faith is not knowing how everything is going to work out, but you still do it anyways because you believe that God is going to take care of you. So yeah, I know I just said a lot.
You know, it's so good to hear that at your young age, you understand that when you feel that God is speaking to you, that you, one, need to listen, and two, need to obey. And now you're learning that you need to be patient.
Yes.
And the culture we live in, we want everything yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to slow that down, it takes some real discipline.
Yeah,
you're going to see the fruits of your labor. You're going to see the fruits of your commitment, of your discipline, of your faith. So
definitely
take a breath and know that God has you. This is wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely feel like even lately it's just been easier to like have faith that God is like taking care of me and that everything will be okay. Because it used to be so easy for me to go into panic mode and think like, oh no, all of this stuff is happening. But I feel like I've gotten like way, way better at that. And I'll say like one thing that really, really, I guess, kept me anchored through that whole process is, and the reason I never gave up is because I knew for a fact, like I heard God so clearly, like during my fast, like this was exactly what he wanted me to do. And so anytime I either got sad or things like started to go wrong, I reminded myself like, God told me to do this. Like, and I remember even feeling like at one point during the collection, like after the fast and I was working on the collection, I felt like during one point I couldn't hear his voice as much. But I don't know if it's a scripture or if my pastor said this or what, but I feel like it was something like God will give you a word, and even if you like continue to go through life and you feel like, oh, you're not hearing God's voice, you still have that word to rely on. Like that, like God's word that he gave you didn't change. Like that's still a fact. That's still true. And so that's what I also like just had to remember during that time. Like, okay, even though I don't know what God wants me to do next, I know like this is what he told me. Like I literally stood on that so firmly. Like I knew for a fact, like God wants me to do this. He wants me to bring this to life. So it has to work out, you know, it has to all come together. So yeah, that was like, that helped me grow so much. Like I always think it's crazy, like even though the collection was called Testimony and I was like sharing a testimony like in the actual collection, even creating it was like another testimony itself, you know, like that was a whole other testimony. So yeah, that collection was really like just beautiful to create. It pushed me out of my comfort zone. It really like just helped me grow in so many areas.
And it's just the beginning of your journey.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like I'm 23 now, and it's just like I always think like, wow, like God has brought me so far in such a short amount of time. Like even after I got saved back in 2019, it's like even from then till now, like my skill has grown so much. And I always tell people like, anytime someone brings up like how gifted I may be or anything like that. I let them know it was because of God. Like the things that I'm creating now, I was not doing anything like this, like at all before I got saved. It's like, it was like a switch. And that may sound crazy to some people, but it's like, I'm so serious. Like I really owe everything that I'm doing right now to God. Like the ideas that I get, like, because I want to say, like, once I got saved, I went through like the whole year of 2020 of just like me and God and working on my craft. And it's like for a year, for me to like leave my brand or just take a break from my brand for just a year, I experienced like the most growth in my craft that I've ever had, like ever. And it's just like, it was like, as I continued to get to know God more and grow my relationship with God, my skill just was like literally rapidly like improving. And so, yeah, I always think that's like one of the most amazing, amazing things.
When you say you left your brand, what do you mean by that?
So I basically, I guess you could say I shut it down. I really like, even on Instagram, like I stopped getting on Instagram. I stopped taking clients. I just wanted to know like what was the vision that God had for me. Because I feel like even though I knew like I was supposed to be doing fashion, I feel like I was kind of just doing whatever. It wasn't like any intention. I wasn't doing anything like intentionally, basically. It was like I was just sewing stuff just to do it. But God, I want to say like early in 2020, God showed me that he wanted me to use my brand to like be a light in the industry. And he wanted to show me like how he wanted me to do that. And so that's why I kind of just had to take a break, stop taking clients. I maybe took like one client or so, not many that whole year, but it was literally just me and God, me figuring out like what he wants from me in my brand, but also just how does he want me to change or grow like as a person. It was like a lot of things he showed me that I was struggling with and that I was dealing with that was gonna like hinder my growth, and it was going to keep me from going to the levels he wanted me to be at. Like one of the things was like jealousy. Like I struggled with that so bad. And even like unforgiveness and just things like that. But I used to see people like just succeeding in things that I wanted to do, and I would get so jealous. And I used to think like before I got saved, like I hated feeling like that. I didn't want to be jealous of people, but I just felt like, dang, like I guess that's just something that I have to deal with, you know? But even that, like God showed me you can be carrying around like jealousy, and I'm trying to take you to like these places. And so one thing like God even had me do for that was he told me, whenever you feel jealous, whenever that feeling of that spirit of jealousy comes over you, pray for that person and keep praying until it goes away, because love and jealousy cannot exist in the same place. So it's like if you're literally praying like for someone's advancement, someone's like just sending them like the best wishes and all of that. Like if you're literally just sitting there and just praying the best for a person and praying that they continue to grow, that they continue to succeed, that they get more clients or they get more business or whatever the case may be, that their skill continues to grow, you can't be jealous at the same time. And so I did that for like months, and then it just stopped. I stopped getting jealous, like, and so it's like that's just like one of the examples, but it was literally like so many things that I was dealing with in my heart that was really like hurting me. And so I had to take a break from my business so I could like work on those things, so I could just focus on who God wants me to be.
So you're working on yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. I know what you're speaking about when you talk about feeling envious. Yeah. When I was around your age, I was experiencing something like that. And it wasn't so much that I wanted what they had. I wanted the skill. I wanted the level of excellence.
Yeah.
And so in the same light as you, as I prayed about it, God had me to understand that his abundance is so vast that
Yes.
my blessing is for me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is going to have the exact same journey, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to look the same on someone else, and someone else's blessing is not going to look the same on me. So there's
Exactly.
no need to be envious because there's such abundance. I'm not going to miss out because someone else has something. So
Yes.
yeah, it's an
That's what.
important place to arrive at, to know
Mhm.
that someone else's blessing doesn't mean that you lose out on yours.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I've been like, I don't want to say realizing, but I guess we can know like scriptures and things like that, but sometimes like we can have points in our life where we really understand it. Like you can know the scripture, but then you can really understand it. And so like even as far as like how like I've always heard like, oh, God says like we lack nothing or there's no lack, but I've really started to understand like that's in everything. Like even if it is like in your business or receiving clientele or whatever the case may be, but in every single part of our lives, like God doesn't want us to lack anything, like literally. And so just how you said, like there's abundance, right? Like someone receiving a lot of something does not mean you get less. Like God wants you to have that as well, but it also kind of comes down to like I feel like your faith or what you believe. Like if you believe, oh well, because that person has more, I will have less, then that's just, I feel like what your life will look like. That's what you're focusing on, that's what you're thinking. So that's what you'll be. But in reality, I really feel like God has so much for all of us. Like he has so much he wants to give us, so much he wants to do for us. But I feel like how we think or even like how we've been raised, or just things that we've seen in our life, it keeps us from being able to like receive all of that,
Yeah.
and so we get stuck in this like competitive like state of mind and trying to compete with everyone around us when that's not even how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. You're running your own race.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. hmm That was great. Thank you for sharing that. So, yeah, that was beautiful. And keep your hand in God's hand. You can't go
Yeah,
wrong.
definitely.
So where do you want to go now?
So right now in my business, I feel like I'm kind of just restructuring things. Um, or I guess refocusing. I feel like well actually there's a couple of things that I'm working on right now. But as far as like refocusing, I feel like at one point I used to care a lot about working with celebrities and things like that. But that I don't think that's like my complete focus anymore. Because I know one thing that I really want to do is, or and that God told me he wanted me to do is like bring fashion and faith together and use my brand to be able to like minister to people and to help people and things like that, like connect with people. And of course, like one way I can do that is like through social media, but also like I want to be able to connect with my clients and use like the time that I do have with my clients, because I could be working with the same client for like 2 months and we see each other or talk to each other like multiple times through that 2 months. And so just even using that time to like minister if like God leads me to my clients. But when it comes to like working with celebrities, it's not really like you get any time to like, you don't ever talk to the person. It's kind of like everything is kind of real quick. Like it could be like their stylist reaches out to you and you may talk to them. You may talk to like the artist like one time and that's it, but everything else is like kind of communicated through the stylist. It basically just doesn't give you a chance to connect with the person. And so it's like I feel like that doesn't, and I'm not against working with like artists and celebrities, but I feel like I'm not doing everything that I should be doing with my brand that way. And then also I'm also trying to move towards like just getting my brand name out more. So even though like it's my brand has been growing, I've been getting more followers, I've been getting reached out to more people. It's still some, I guess, more milestones that I'm trying to hit. And so I know one thing I want to do right now is get my pieces or get some of my pieces in a showroom. And a showroom is basically like where say directors, producers, stylists, different things like that, where people come to get garments for movies and music videos, commercials, runways, not runways, red carpets, things like that. And so it basically is bringing opportunity to my brand without me physically having to be there. Like I let them hold my pieces and they'll like basically rent things out for me. And even if something happens to the garment, they take care of it. It's like not anything I have to worry about. But that's something that I really want to do. Like Tyler Perry, he works with this studio, the showroom out here in Atlanta called Ivy Showroom. And he goes to them for like almost every project he has. And so they're like somebody I have on my list that I want to get my pieces into their showroom, because I know if Tyler Perry reads my stuff, it'll be on TV, which creates like more exposure. So just things like that, like trying to create more exposure for myself, trying to be like more intentional with my clients. And then also I want to get back into taking time to like sit and just continue to develop my craft. I feel like lately, since things have been picking up, I've been in this like work type of like I guess space in my life. And I haven't had time to like just sit and like just practice new techniques, practice new skills and things like that. And that's something that I really want to just continue to do, because I saw like how much I was able to grow by like spending that time in 2020 doing that. So just continue to add value to myself, making sure I'm adding value to my clients, and just continuing to like increase exposure for my brand.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Beautiful. I love I love how you're growing in your business and in your spiritual life, in your walk, and as a young woman. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
How can people contact you?
So I can be contacted through Instagram. My Instagram is at JAYDA Official. Oh, I don't even think I said my brand name while I was on here, but my brand name is Jaelldesigns. I had that name since I was 7 as well. I think my mom created it for me, but it's basically the first 2 letters of my first name and the first 3 letters of my last name. So JAYDA ELLIS, Jaell, JAELL. But yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Jaell Official, JAELL Official. My website is jaelldesigns.com, and my email is jaelldesigns@gmail.com. And my Facebook is just Jaell. So yeah, that is how you can contact me.
Okay, excellent. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your journey and wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing your designs on the billboards in Manhattan and all over the place.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so happy I was able to come on here and just talk with your audience and just share my story with you. Like, this was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you've blessed many people. I'm sure people that are young women who are thinking, wow, look at, she started with her dolls. I know a young woman who I guess she's about 24 now, and she used to cut out, do little paper cutouts and that on her dolls with the paper. And she'd sketch out patterns on paper, but she pivoted from that. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to know that had she persevered, who knows, but well, clearly there was another walk for her.
Definitely, yeah.
So again, JAYDA, thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for sharing in this journey with this beautiful young lady. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.